Hi, my name's Hayley. I am the Food Ninja and I am a health strategist for business owners and entrepreneurs. Fancy. So I'm here to talk to you today about what I like to call the business owner's dirty little secret, which is burnout. So what is burnout? So even though we think of it as a fairly new phenomenon, that phrase was actually coined in 1974 by a guy whose name escapes me. Should have done my research. Who was actually working with drug addicts. So it was a term that was used a lot for that kind of hangover, if you like, from being a drug addict, or the symptoms of drug addiction. But what he actually noticed was this phenomenon with the workers, the support workers who were trying to help people through the addiction. And he sort of termed it as this kind of this phrase which kind of moves on from chronic stress. So burnout is not stress, okay? So normal stress responses to certain situations are completely healthy, right? So if you have a stress response, it usually shows that something really matters to you. So actually, let's get our shit together and work out how to deal with it. And B, it helps us to adapt and overcome, find solutions to problems, new ways of doing things, and also grow as a person. But it's when we kind of lose our ability to respond appropriately and these things kind of start to stack up on each other that we experience burnout. So how do you recognize burnout? So there are a number of ways. So there are physical symptoms. So you may get things like headaches, gut issues, because obviously our mental health is connected to our gut health. Now there's the gut-brain axis. We may get anxiety, and mostly the sort of main symptom is physical and mental exhaustion. So that's the first symptom. Those are kind of the preceding symptoms, if you like, and they're quite hard to recognize whether they're going to develop into burnout or not, right? Because they're kind of symptoms that you might find every day if you've pushed through and you've had to work hard on a project or something. So there are other symptoms which mean that maybe it is developing into burnout. So the second of those could be detachment from your business. So almost not caring about your work that much anymore, not really caring about your clients and their results. You may feel that you're not part of your business anymore, or you feel a bit kind of numb. You're numbing your feelings around your business. You've got no excitement, no joy for it anymore. So this kind of like detachment, or a lot of people term it as kind of cynicism. So that's the second symptom. And then the third symptom is really around productivity and impact. So if you don't feel, if you're working a lot, but you're not getting anywhere in your business and you're being really ineffectual, you don't feel like you're making an impact on people or in your business anymore in the same way, you're starting to doubt your abilities and stuff, that can be another sign of burnout. So if you've got those three things going on, the physical symptoms, the detachment or cynicism, and the not feeling productive or useful, or kind of just a bit ineffectual, really, then you could be suffering from burnout. It's important to say as well that different people have different symptoms of different severities. So even if you recognize a few of those symptoms in yourself, and, while I'm talking about this, I'm actually recognizing a couple of these symptoms myself from time to time. It doesn't necessarily mean you're heading for a massive fucking breakdown, right? But they are warning signs to be aware of. Why are business owners more susceptible to burnout? Or why is there a higher percentage of us who are more likely to get burnout rather than just stress? So like I said earlier, burnout is kind of, I call it our dirty little secret, right? Because I have obviously I work with a lot of clients, both one-to-one and in a group setting. And we all love our businesses. You only start a business because you fucking love what you do, because otherwise you would not put up with all the shit that comes with it, right? But the kind of pressure of that hustle and grind culture, right? You know, there's a lot in the sort of online space of people being part of the 4 a.m. club, and this kind of attitude where you don't care enough about your business unless you're working 20 hours a day, and, you know, all this shit basically that goes on. If you then admit that you're feeling a bit burned out, you know, you feel ashamed. You feel like you are not as good as other business owners. They're pushing through their stress symptoms. Why can't I do it? So there's a lot of shame and guilt attached to it. And we actually do feel like it's shameful to admit that you don't love your business anymore. You know, that might not be a permanent thing. Maybe you just don't love your business right now. Okay. And I'm going to tell you a little story. I've got a personal experience of this. So I started off my career, what I do now, obviously as a nutritionist. And while I was living in Ibiza, it was always my dream to open this amazing kind of, it was going to be a cafe, it was going to be healthy eating, it was going to do meal prep, I was going to have consulting rooms upstairs, it's all going to be fucking amazing, right? And I thought it was my dream to have this cafe. And then I got the opportunity to do that. And it turned into a fucking nightmare. It was horrific, you know, trying to set up a business in Spain, which is very difficult to do. It's a lot of red tape. Things are very expensive. I had some amazing friends who lent me some money. So there was a lot of pressure in terms of that. But also I told everyone, you know, oh my God, this is my dream. I've always wanted a cafe. The reality of it was very, very different, you know, which involved me not being able to afford somewhere to live and sleeping on the floor of the kitchen, working 20 hours a day and doing everything from cooking the food to cleaning the toilets to waitressing to delivering meals to people, like fucking everything. And I didn't want to admit that that I didn't love this business because it was my dream, right? And very often that's where you will get the burnout, because obviously, you know, working hard and then doing something that you think you ought to love but isn't congruent with you and your personality, and you know, doesn't turn out the way you expect it to. So that is a big warning sign. And I think another reason we're more susceptible is we don't recognize the warning signs of burnout. We think they are part and parcel of being a business owner. Oh, I've started, you know, I've put these boundaries in place and said that I'm not going to do calls before 9 a.m. or after 5 p.m. And then the calls start creeping in, right? You get calls at 7 a.m., you get calls at 7 p.m. And you're like, oh, this is just until I catch up. I've got a bit of a backlog. And your boundaries disappear, right? But you think, oh, no, but this is what I signed up for. This is part of being a business owner, right? Is I have to work hard. It is stressful. It is kind of, you know, a lot of instability because I don't know where my income is coming from this month or next month or the month after. This is what I signed up for, right? I signed up for being tired. I signed up for being stressed. I knew this is what it would be. So we tend to ignore those warning signs because we think it's just part of what we do. And also another kind of reason that we're susceptible to it is we think that when we feel tired or when we are starting to get a bit stressed, we should just power through, because that's what business owners do, isn't it? You know, it's hard, but, you know, when you see people around you kind of, oh my God, I pulled an all-nighter because I've got a launch and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, I don't feel that great, but maybe I should push through as well. It's not 1980s fucking Wall Street, right? It's not a lunches for wimps and all that crap. We don't have to run our businesses like that anymore, but we don't realize that because this hustle and grind culture is so prevalent, right? Another reason why we're very susceptible to it is we cannot delegate. I feel seen. So, you know, when you start your business, you love it and you're also a bit of a control freak, right? And I am speaking about myself. I can't lie. I know that no one else will care about my business as much as I do. And that's totally fine. I'm not thinking that people should. But what that means is when it comes to delegating stuff, I'm a bit like, oh no, I really want it done in this way, or this person won't be able to do this, or, you know, I do this in a very caring way and they won't feel the same about it. So we have this kind of stress of wearing lots of hats all of the time, and we have trouble letting go, right? We can't delegate. And that is kind of linked to another reason why we're quite susceptible to this is you have to be a certain type of personality, right, to start your own business, like probably a fucking masochist or something. But we tend to be obsessive, we tend to be driven, and we tend to be perfectionists. So when you are working lots of hours and then not getting where you want to in your business, that starts to wear away at you. And very often we judge our self-worth as a person by our success as a business owner, right? We're so intrinsically linked to our businesses that we find it very hard to separate the two. So when something goes wrong in your business and you are already stressed out and not able to be resilient and choose the appropriate stress response, what happens is that affects our self-worth. We're a shit person because something shit has happened in our business. Like, that's stressful, right? That's really stressful. And, you know, mix that up in a big pot of perfectionism and ambition and being driven and being obsessive, and we are basically, you know, a burnout waiting to happen if we don't keep an eye on it. And then the final reason why we are a bit more susceptible than maybe other people is we don't do things for the joy of doing them. Like, if you've got a hobby, I can't tell you the amount of business owner friends I have who have a hobby that they've turned into a side hustle because they're like, oh my God, I could monetize this. I love this hobby so much. I could invent this new thing that makes a hobby easier. Or I'm so great at my hobby, I could teach other people how to do it. Or I've found a way of making my hobby more enjoyable. I could sell this to someone else, right? So we are always thinking about the side hustle and monetizing what we do, which means that we don't just do things for the joy of it, and everything is a business opportunity. When you're constantly in that mindset and you're not having a break from your business or from thinking that everything is a business opportunity, that is another reason why, you know, hopefully you can see all of these reasons I've given you, they heap on top of one another. And that's when stress becomes burnout, right? Another reason why business owners are a little bit more susceptible is when we experience this stress and burnout, we have more opportunity to use unhealthy coping mechanisms to support that, right? So by that, I mean, you know, if you work from home, you're at home all day, you could just be emotionally eating all day because it's there and you've got access to it. And maybe you work on your own and you're at home on your own all day, so people can't see that, you know, you're eating all this food and stuff. It's not the same as being in an office environment where people would kind of, you know what they're like, pointing the fingers and whatever. And also, if you're your own boss, if you are using alcohol to wind down at night time, there are less consequences, right? Because you're like, oh, I don't have to get up and go to work in the morning and hide my hangover. So we are more susceptible to using these unhealthy coping mechanisms like, you know, drinking alcohol, emotionally eating and eating food that is not great for us. And, you know, in some case using, you know, recreational drugs or prescription medications and stuff. Or, you know, our lack of sleep and poor diet and stuff will also exacerbate all of that as well. Right, so now I need to give you some solutions. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about how you can avoid burnout. So the very first thing I want to say about this is you must be proactive and not reactive, right? if you're already experiencing all of these symptoms and you don't deal with them, it's basically like kind of, it's that meme that you see, right, where there's, I think it's a dog, isn't it, kind of sat at the table, like typing, or sat at a table, and the house is just on fire around it. Like, that's what you're doing. Okay, so don't wait and be reactive. Don't wait until your house is on fire, basically. So the first thing is to be proactive with activities that manage your stress. Now, what kind of activities are those? Well, with my clients, I like to call that mental recovery activities. So in the same way that you would do a physical recovery activity after you've exercised, like stretching or massage or something like that, you should also be doing mental activities. Not mental activities. That would be weird. Mental recovery activities would be much more effective. So that can be different from person to person. It might be walking outside, going to the park. It might be playing a guitar. It might be playing Lego. It might be doing a puzzle. It might be meditating, if that's your thing, right? It's all going a bit weird now. So it's really important to be proactive. Even if you don't feel stressed, plan those things into your day. Plan at least 30 minutes every day when you are winding down, away from work, doing something different, and giving your brain a bit of a break, creating space in your brain instead of it being full of all the day-to-day shit. So that's the first thing, is to be proactive. The second thing is, remember why you started your business, right? You started your business, I'm betting, if you're anything like most of the business owners I know, to design the life that you wanted. You didn't start your business to be beholden to it and trapped in it and working 12 hours a day or chained to it, and working all these hours and not being able to enjoy the output, right? So a lot of the things that I do with my clients, one of the exercises I do is I get them to design their perfect day. So that will have time for their work, how many ever hours they need to be productive, exercise, connection with people, relaxation, all of those things. I get them to say, why did you start your business? What kind of life do you want your business to provide for you? So that's really important, is make sure that you're heading, you're edging further towards that kind of design of your life rather than further away from it. If your business is taking you away from it, then you need to have a look at things like delegating, etc. And then the third thing is purpose, right? And I know this sounds a bit, find your purpose, but it's a really, really important thing, because if you have purpose in your life and you are having an impact on others, that makes you feel good about yourself, and it prevents burnout, because you are doing something that's enriching other people's lives and you feel like you have a place in the world, right? And again, I'm going to use myself as an example. I do work quite hard. At this very moment, I am full for one-to-one clients, and that means a lot of calls every week. But I have amazing testimonials from my clients. They send me videos on a weekly basis to talk about the changes that, the positive benefits that they're feeling, and how they're managing their own stress and, looking and feeling amazing and sleeping better. That makes me feel good. That makes me want to go to work every day. And it makes me, fall in love with my business even more every time I read something like that. So make sure that your business, if you're not in love with your business right now, and let's be honest, we all have periods where we go through that. See if it's something that's fixable. Is it temporary? Do things like go back through old testimonials and read them, or contact your current clients and ask them for a testimonial, and try and figure out what impact you're having on people's lives and what impact you're having on the world without sounding too fucking wanky, right? But that is really, really important. And then I guess the fourth one, is this 4, Carl? I don't know how many how many it is connection. Take time to connect with people every day. I know right now that means fucking Zoom fatigue, right? But even, when you go out to the shop with your mask on, chat to the checkout person, go to the corner shop, just connect with people. It's very easy to get caught up in your little bubble, not your COVID bubble, just your bubble, your world. And think that there's nothing outside of you and your business and you're working really hard on it, but make sure that you connect with people who are nothing to do with your business. So those, I'm going to summarize those 4 tips, which is be proactive, be purposeful, or think about your purpose and the impact that you're having on others. Design the life that you want and make sure that you are moving closer to it, the kind of why you started your business. And the 4th is to make sure that you connect with other people on a regular basis. And that's it for this week. That's it in general. I probably will talk about burnout again at some point. But if you've enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share it, comment below and tell me, have you ever experienced burnout and how did you deal with it? I will see you soon for more.